Minot, North Dakota is the fourth largest city in the state by population and also one of the largest in terms of rail traffic. CPKC's Portal subdivision passes right through Minot, and BNSF's Gavin Yard is the junction point between three BNSF subdivisions, those being the Glasgow, Devils Lake, and KO subdivisions. Welcome to the Pennsylvania 421 channel, and this video is going to be all about the trains of Minot, North Dakota. The first train in this video was captured in early March of 2025. It is a high-priority intermodal led by 3 locomotives with 1 DPU trailing at the rear. The area where this was filmed is one of the best places in Minot to railfan, as you can get right up next to the BNSF staging yard without actually trespassing on BNSF property. We have now moved west of the previous location and are standing near the old footbridge that goes over the BNSF tracks. This is the only example of these footbridges left in Minot, and unfortunately it is no longer accessible as it is fenced off with a sign that says "Do not walk on bridge." This train is headed by 2 locomotives with 1 DPU at the rear, and the consist is a mixture of intermodal well cars and auto racks. The next 2 trains are captured as they cross the Gasman Coulee Trestle, the steel trestle bridge built across Trestle Valley by the Great Northern Railroad in 1899. The bridge is 126 years old and is still used regularly by BNSF. This train here is a mixed freight train with only 2 locomotives at the head. The next train to cross the bridge was a high-speed BNSF intermodal led by 3 locomotives with 2 DPUs. The prime movers were absolutely screaming on this train, and with the acoustics of the valley amplifying the noise, it just sounded awesome.
Yes! Yes, yes, yes! Hell yeah, baby! Woo! That is what we like to see.
We now skip forward quite a few hours for the next train, which was a CPKC intermodal led by Canadian Pacific number 8204, a General Electric AC 4400 CWM, which was rebuilt in 2022 prior to the CPKC merger. This video is taken in Minot's historical downtown district, across the street from an old train station which is now a restaurant. One of the most distinctive features of this area is the curve on the CPKC track, which is so brutally tight that it causes the flanges to scrape against the outer rail and make a horribly ear-rending screech. This intermodal had a mid-train DPU, which was Kansas City Southern number 4007, and AMD ST70 Ace, which still wears the KCS Southern Bell scheme. Now let's take a quick break from the freight trains. Minot is one of the few station stops in North Dakota for the Amtrak Empire Builder. It passes through the city twice a day, westbound in the morning and eastbound in the evening. On this particular day, June 17th, 2025, I captured the Empire Builder as it arrived in Minot at 9 o'clock a.m. This station stop lasted about an hour, and during that time, the two locomotives, both Siemens ALC-42 Chargers, were refilled with diesel. About halfway through the stop, we were pleasantly surprised by an eastbound BNSF intermodal which absolutely pounded the diamond with the CPKC line. About 20 minutes following that, the Amtrak Builder departed the station, headed for Stanley, North Dakota. We are now a quarter mile east of the Amtrak station for this next train, which is yet another BNSF Autorack train, this one with a little surprise at the end. It had been sitting idle under the bridge for quite some time, so unfortunately when it finally got going, the sun was low enough in the sky that the video is pretty badly backlit. But that's just the nature of railfanning. Some videos will be good, some of them won't. You just take what you can get.
Look southern. I wonder when it's going to derail.
And here's the surprise I was talking about. I later learned that it's called a track geometry car, and its purpose is to automatically measure a variety of things with the track to make sure it's safe to operate on. but at the time of the video I had no idea what it was, and my confusion is noticeable in the clip. But that's a BNSF car. That's a crew that's a company train? I don't know. These last few videos are all from my most recent day of railfanning, which was August 31st, 2025, when my friend and my brother were in Minot for an event and we had some time to kill. Something I found really interesting about this grain train was that you can hear the rails singing. You hear that? As the train approached, the vibrations it sent through the rails were causing it to give off a high-pitched ringing sound, which, as I said in the video, made it sound like they were singing. This was an extremely lucky catch, because my friend and I had just on a whim decided let's head down to the Amtrak station to see if we could find any trains, and this one, which had been sitting down in the staging yard, started moving literally minutes after we got there. Yeah, I got some old EMDs. Just shy of an hour after that train went past, a BNSF local came from the other direction, headed by BNSF number 2850, a locomotive I'm very familiar with as it shows up back home quite often. Often enough that I've even taken to calling it our old friend number 2850. Oh, it's old friend 2850. We've seen that one quite a lot. This train took me by surprise because I noticed another train had begun to move westwards in the yard, and I was going onto the bridge to record that one when I heard this one hitting a diamond, and I just barely managed to get my phone out in time to record it. The really cool part about this train was that the DPU was painted in BNSF's H1 paint scheme, which isn't very common anymore. Even though I'm not a huge fan of H1, it's still cool to see it every once in a while because of how rare it is. And here's the train that had started moving in the yard. Turns out it had gone about a quarter mile west and then stopped right in front of the Amtrak station. We didn't wait to watch it leave because we thought we had to go to the event then, because the schedule had said it started at 5 o'clock, but as it turned out it started at 6 o'clock, so we went over to the CPKC line and found this train. It was stopped when we first saw it, and we thought it was just a cut of cars that had been left there, until a minute later we realized that it was actually moving. So we decided to trace down the head end. It wasn't a particularly long train, and it wasn't moving very fast, so this didn't take us that long. We got to the crossing with just enough time to get out and record it as it went past.
I'm getting out.
We only realized later that this was no ordinary locomotive. It is one of 3 locomotives in CPKC's entire fleet that is decorated with the crest of Strathcona's Horse, which was a regiment in the Canadian military whose founder was also a co-founder of Canadian Pacific. And the locomotives decorated with the emblem of Strathcona's Horse are done so to commemorate the historical connections between the Canadian Pacific Railway and the Strathcona's Horse Regiment. So technically, this is a heritage unit. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider liking and subscribing. I plan to upload more content like this, as well as model train content, and maybe even videos going over like train history and stuff. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please consider subscribing. But that's all I have for today, so until next time, goodbye.